Welcome back to another episode of the I'm Not a Hater podcast featuring your favorite not hater, Mr. Brown. All right, so listen up. Football season is back, it's in full swing, and I definitely have some questions. I'm not going to do what I did last year with doing a whole bunch of predictions and things of that nature. For one, they didn't pan out like I thought they would. Obviously, making predictions, nothing is ever a sure thing. And also, it takes a lot of time to be, going through all the divisions and people and players to watch and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just going to talk about some things that I've noticed or I've seen. And, we just going to get right into it, man. It's football season. I just want to know, first thing first, I just want to know what's with the hate for the Sanders family? Talking about Dion, Shador, and Shiloh. Like, what's really the reason? Shador can't get a good shot with the Cleveland Browns. He slipped from the first round to the fifth. And dude was, pretty good in college. I won't say pretty good. Dude did a great job in college. Going from Jackson State to Colorado, all in, 2 years time span, basically having the offense on his shoulders. I feel like he did an amazing job at quarterback, which is one of the toughest positions to ever play, because you're responsible for so much. You have to put basically everybody in the right places for the play to work. Um, and I just feel like he's not getting a fair shake at this point in Cleveland. I don't know why. Not saying that he has to be the starter, obviously, but he played better than Dylan Gabriel, in my opinion. And for him not to get the reps and things that he deserves, it's just wild. But then again, Cleveland is a wild place. I think they got like 5 quarterbacks on the roster because they still got Deshaun Watson, right, who's injured at this point. They went and got Joe Flacco again, Tyler Huntley, I believe. They got Shador and they got Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I never seen a team carry 5 quarterbacks to start the season, but here we are. It's Cleveland. Um, Best case scenario for Shador, he might need to, play well enough if he gets the opportunity, play well enough to find another team to go to because that's going to be his best bet. But I just want to know, like, why did he slip so far in the draft? Why was there hate? I know he's a what they call a quote unquote, and both of them, right? Rightfully so. They're called cocky individuals, but they're confident. And their father raised them to be confident. Their father was confident. He was cocky, but he knew what he was doing on the football field. They know what they're doing on the football field. They have seen enough footage, enough film to know what they're doing on that field. They've trained with, some of the best players in the NFL at, certain points in times. They know what they're doing. So why not? If you know what you're doing, everybody's going to be cocky if they know what they're doing. Don't fault them for that. Don't fault them for being raised by a Hall of Famer. Don't fault them for that. But I noticed that, and not to go off topic, but I noticed that when there's a strong present father in the situation, i.e. LeVar Ball or, even LeBron James for that matter, when it comes to Bronny and Bryce, people don't really take too kindly to that, as though they want them to be like just in the background, happy to be there. LeVar Ball lets you know all 3 of his boys belonged in the league. I mean, obviously, it showed that 2/3 of them, actually do belong, but LeVar let you know they were coming, and they showed up for the most part. LeBron, he wants to play with his 2 sons. Now, the jury's still out on how good they are exactly, but the fact that, they had all the twos available, like, give them a shot in the NBA. They're going to have to make their name one way or the other. And that's the thing I'm saying for Shiloh and Shador. Like, give them a shot in the NFL. They have to make their name. They're not going to live off of what Dion did because Dion's already done it. He's got his gold jacket and he's in the Hall of Fame. So that's not, it's not a situation where they can completely piggyback off of what he did. He did that 30-something years ago. They have to make their new legacy, but they don't need to be hated on because they are who they are. It's not their fault. Their last name is Sanders. That's just, a fact. Now, listen, I'm going to be completely honest at this point. This trade that I'm about to talk about, it definitely got on my entire nerves, and it makes me want to trade in my fan card so bad. But I am so loyal to my team that I won't do it. But Jerry Jones, what in the world are you doing trading Micah Parsons? You always work these situations out with these players, whether it's before the first game or the last week of training camp. These situations always get worked out. Why now did you decide to trade our best defensive player to the Packers? And I understand we got Kenny Clark back, and he's a good D tackle. He's definitely every time I play against him on Madden, he definitely claws up the middle. So I'm sure he's gonna do that in real life. Okay, great. But Micah Parsons had the LT comparison. You do not trade Lawrence Taylor for a pack of gum, basically. I don't understand why you did it, but I do understand why he did it, because I watched the Cowboys documentary on Netflix. And so I understand Jerry wants to be the reason that the Cowboys succeed. So it didn't work with Jimmy Johnson. Kind of with Barry Switzer, but Barry Switzer still got the credit. The coaches are always going to get the credit, never the owner. That's the same thing in New England with, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. But Robert Kraft isn't Jerry Jones. He does not want to be in the spotlight. Jerry Jones craves to be in the spotlight. And this trade, I believe, was just another notch in his ego to show you that, hey, I am the boss. I run the show. I'm the GM. I'm the owner, etc. But like I've been saying, and like I always say, we need to clean house. The Jones family, thank you for what you did. You bought the team. You can still own the team, but they do not need to make player personnel moves. They make horrible player personnel moves. And now we hold contracts over people's heads basically every year for the last 3 years. It was Dak, then it was CD, now it's Micah. Micah's gone now because you traded him, and now it just pack up the whole season because we don't really have a star on defense. Now they could do it by committee, and okay, great, but come on, man, it's Micah Parsons. You don't trade that away for nothing. I'm sorry. Like, I could go on and on about it, but I just feel like you don't make that type of mistake just trading Micah Parsons just because, okay, we couldn't really work it out. That's just crazy to me. You find a way to work it out. You get in that room with that agent, and y'all don't leave until y'all get a better understanding and get that money close to where y'all want it, and you sign that man. You keep him in a Dallas Cowboy uniform for the entirety of his career. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't do that. I wish Micah Parsons the best in Green Bay. I hope he put up numbers to show Jerry what time it is, because other than that, it would be a win for the Cowboys. They got rid of you. But Micah, I know I'm on a podcast, but truthfully, you shouldn't be on a podcast during the season. Save the podcasting for the off season too. Focus on football. Make that your one true focus, and then do your thing. That's all I can say. Now listen, I'm not a hater, so I'm not going to hate on this man, but when it's time to go, I think it's time to go. Aaron Rodgers, is this your final season? I hope it is. And I say that with the utmost respect, but I hope it is, because nobody wants to see the old man playing quarterback, okay? Tom Brady did it. Peyton did it. Okay, cool. You can join the crew and do it too, but please ride off into the sunset no matter what the Steelers do. I know, the Steelers have probably the most winning seasons, and if I'm wrong, somebody will correct me. The Steelers have the most winning seasons in NFL history. You're adding your name to the likes of Terry Bradshaw and who else was a star quarterback for the Steelers? Well, Terry Bradshaw really is the star of stars in Steeler country. But you're adding your name to that. They had Russell Wilson. They did, okay. Again, they had a winning season. Kept Mike Tomlin's job, so I know he might be on the hot seat too. So Aaron, you got a lot of pressure on you. They traded away George Pickens. They brought in DK Metcalf. So hopefully, that's a big target to throw to. Use him up while you got him. Pause. But I just feel like, Aaron, you got the keys. Do what you need to do, and then turn in your retirement papers and walk right to Canton. It's just what it is. We know you're gonna make the Hall of Fame. You've been an NFL MVP. You've won a Super Bowl. You put up numbers. It's what's in your future. But take the opportunity, play this season out, and then don't hold them hostage like you did the Jets and the Packers. Just go into retirement. That's my thoughts and feelings on you, Aaron Rodgers. Now, I hate to have to talk about this, but I have to because, again, I'm talking about football. It's back. The defending champion, the Eagles. Now, do I think they have a shot? In my honest opinion, I feel like the Eagles have a good chance to repeat. They have Jalen Hurts, who is criminally slept on, underrated. Saquon Barkley, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL today. They have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. They have an incredible defense, and when you put all that together, they definitely going to win the NFC East. The Commanders will give them a good run, I believe. The Giants will play hard. The Cowboys is up in the air. We don't know. Pack them up, in my opinion. But I feel like the Eagles have the best chance to repeat. I do have their strong chance to repeat. Okay, and I like I said, I'm not an Eagles fan, so that's definitely difficult to say. But being objective about the sport, I feel like they have a good chance. Now, on to the Chiefs. Are they going to fall off? Is it going to be like a 5-win season? I don't think so. I think that the Chiefs are always, like they do, going to find a way to win games. Whether it's Pat running the ball, Pat making a timely throw to Travis, or the wide receivers, or Isaiah Pacheco running the ball, the Chiefs will find a way to win. Okay, it's just what they do. And I feel like they also have a good chance to get back to the Super Bowl. I feel like it's a good chance we get a rematch. But you also have teams that are on their tail as well. The Ravens, the Bills, etc. They also have a chance as well. But I feel like the Chiefs want revenge for what happened last season. They got smacked in the Super Bowl, and I did not see that coming. I thought it would be a close game, and maybe they would pull it out in the last second drive, but the Eagles jumped on them and did not let go. So I feel like this year, Pat, Travis, and the whole squad, they want revenge, and I feel like they're going to come out hot, and they, just not going to let up until they ultimately get to the Super Bowl. Now, whether they win it all, that remains to be seen, and it's going to be interesting to watch, but I feel like they have a real good chance to get there. This season is going to be probably the season of unexpected. I don't think it's going to be a cut and dry where you could just pick out teams and go, everybody's going to win the division that you say. I feel like it's going to be some surprises in there. So everybody buckle up and get ready for that, because obviously this is the excitement of football season. It is now back, and I can't say that I'm not excited. And I'm, because listen, sports, when we go through that summertime where it's not any, of the competitive sports on, like NBA basketball, and you end up having to watch like the Little League World Series to get your sports fix, you a sports fan for real. And I definitely, was watching that. But I'm glad that, football is on its way to returning. Week 1 coming up soon. I think Thursday, week 1 will be here to start. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this season. Like I said, no real picks coming from me, because I'm not doing that again. I'm not putting myself in that situation to make those picks. It just was, crazy. And then they didn't pan out. None of my picks panned out, I don't think, from last year. I picked a bunch of division winners, and I think only like Buffalo and the Chiefs won the division out of everything I picked. So I'm not ever doing that again. But I will talk about things that I see that are going on in football land, and will bring them to your attention. Once again, if this is your first time tuning in, like, comment, and subscribe. Let people know that you have tuned into the I'm Not a Hater podcast. I talk about it all, from football to life to education, music, whatever you want, I speak about it. And with that being said, I'm out. I'll see you on the next episode, and peace and love.